On May 22nd, 2021, YouTuber Junkyard Fox uploaded one of the most disturbing camping encounters I've ever seen. And honestly, he's lucky to still be alive. He had gone out to West Texas to spend the night in a primitive shelter he'd built earlier. At first, everything seemed fine. His spirits were high, the weather was warming up, and he proudly showed off his shelter before settling in for the night.
So about 15 minutes later, I'd say we're pretty good. So it doesn't take that long to just put the thatching, kind of like weave it in there, kind of tangle it, and then put these sticks on top for weight. Now, is this going to be 100% foolproof from the elements? No, of course not. But it's going to be strong enough to keep the sun out of your face when you're trying to rest in the daytime, keep the winds out of you when you're trying to sleep, so you're not that cold. Now, it's not going to be waterproof. And I did see lightning coming from this direction earlier. And in fact, I'm actually starting to feel raindrops. See that? So yeah, so we're going to be getting a little bit of rain. Now, that's just part of it. In my opinion, that's part of, testing yourself as an outdoorsman, as a prepper, as a bushcrafter, whatever you want to call it. It's not always going to be sunshine and fat steaks. You got to rough it out and you got to get uncomfortable. So if you guys remember last time that I stayed here, the winds were just really strong 30-mile-an-hour winds coming into the shelter, so I was cold. This time it looks like I may get soaked. So luckily I do have a poncho in my haversack in case it gets crazy. But yeah, that's part of it. So the roof is good to go. Now I gotta take this apart and kind of make this better because this is terrible. And once again, there could be some creepy crawlers on there. By the way, I'm not boring you with all this work, but whenever I'm doing all this stuff, because there may be scorpions or something like that, I do have my my work gloves here. And in case you're wondering what's in this box, I did have just yucca seed pods when we were building the shelter because they are a great tinder source.
As clouds began rolling in, he decided to reinforce his shelter as much as possible, just in case the weather turned bad. Thankfully, it didn't get too serious. After cooking himself a meal and enjoying the quiet of the outdoors, he finally crawled inside his shelter to call it a day. But that's when things took a terrifying turn.
Okay, folks, so it's time to call it a night. Like I said today, I'm not really hanging out in terms of, having some beers around the fire or nothing like that. It's more of a test of, being out here and stuff. And I foresee today being nicer anyway, an easier night, because forecast looks like the night's going to drop to the, early 60s, late 50s at most. So it's really nothing too bad. In case of anything, I do have my jacket here. And then I do also have my shamog down here, and I apologize for the crappy lighting. So in case of anything, I could just wrap that around my face or whatever. And that's about it. So in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll make some coffee. And that's about it for me. So have a good night, everyone. Okay, folks, so change of plans. I was asleep for 2 hours. Then I woke up to a truck driving nearby, and they shot my truck. They legitimately shot the windows on my truck. People I don't know. This is crazy. Look, these are my windows. This is insane. Once again, I have no clue who these people are. They're just drunks. I could hear loud music. That's what woke me up. And sure enough, so I'm guessing this trip is over. Oh man, what a mess.
In the middle of the night, Junkyard Fox was jolted awake by the sound of gunfire. A group of drunks had stumbled into the area and started shooting at his truck, parked nearby. He later explained that he had no idea who they were or why they did it. But we all know just how close this could have been to disaster. One stray bullet could have been the end of his life. This remains one of the strangest and most unsettling camping encounters I've ever seen. What do you think? Was this a random act of recklessness? Or was there something more behind this attack? On September 3rd, 2025, YouTuber Sort of Interesting had a stealth camping experience he won't forget anytime soon. He was out camping in a small clearing near a riverside in the UK. At first, everything seemed perfect. His spirits were high. He unpacked his bag and quickly found what he thought was the ideal spot to set up camp.
Okay, so I am definitely concealed, although that might only count if I'm about 2 feet from the ground at most. So I'm just going to have a quick scout around this area for somewhere that's a little clearer to put maybe my basic ground sheet poncho down. But this is already quite amusing and humorous an activity to try and do. Wish me luck. Okay, so with the sound of crows in the background and endless chainsawing across the valley, I'll just show you what I've got. So, this is slightly haunting already. So, because I've travelled so lightly and simply, I've been able to fetch my very small camping stool. But ironically, I've got such poor cover from the wider world here that even this tiny little stool might actually be too high for me to sit on. Obviously water, oh yeah, we've got toiletries, odds and ends and snacks in the top of my bag. Elpkit Elan bivvy bag. Simple basic sleeping bag. And what I was hoping to do was to use my pegs to peg down my poncho tarp as a ground sheet. But as you can see right now, I think I might just have to fold this over and use it as a little bit of a footprint to put my bivvy bag on amongst the ferns here if I'm going to have any sort of cover at all. Pillow is my Ecotech Hibernate inflatable mat. I've got my basic selfie stick tripod hybrid. I haven't got my fancy microphone for recording or anything, which is typical because we've got so much noise around us. And I need to be really quiet, so I can't do my shouting to a distant camera.
Not long after unpacking, he started to notice something wasn't quite right about the location.
It seems that there are a lot of people around compared to what I was hoping for. So I'm going to really keep a low profile for a few minutes, then I'm going to get out of here and set my stuff up after a little while. What am I doing right now? What am I actually doing and planning? This is a comfortable night's sleep, apparently. So here's the plan. I'm going to leave my sleeping bag here, just so there's more space and less weight in my backpack as I walk around. I'm going to lay this out, but as a really thin rectangle, as a base for my bivvy to go on. And then I'm going to clear off and come back just as it starts to get a little bit darker.
There were too many people around for comfort. So, he came up with a plan. Set up his camp, leave for a while, and then return once the sun went down. And that's exactly what he did. As night fell, he climbed inside his bivvy, talking to the camera about how much he loved the setup he'd prepared for the night. But it wasn't long before things took a darker turn.
I might be going absolutely mad here. I swear there's been like a firefly. I'm gonna shut up. I think I can hear footsteps. I can't. I am keeping an extreme low profile right now. I think that the laser was coming from the far side of the trees, but I'm not 100%. I don't think it was actually aimed at me. I think it was just shining a laser for the sake of it. But it's certainly woken me up a little bit. But to be honest, it's been quiet for about 10 minutes now, so I'm not too worried. There's a dog in here! What the hell is it?
He's jolted awake by the sound of footsteps, and then a laser light shining directly toward him. Neither he nor the viewer really knows what's going on in that moment, but as the tension builds, he starts piecing together what he thinks happened.
Here's that footage slowed down because I got such a poor quality view of the situation, as I basically went from asleep to the most awake I've ever been in my life in the space of 1 second. When they were running away, I think it was a phone light rather than a proper flashlight of any kind. And I don't know if those lasers are one single tool or some sort of surveillance kit or something, I don't know. But I'm sure after I shouted, "There's a dog in here," which was the only thing I could think of in the heat of the moment, I'm sure you can hear a little exclamation from them, just a little "Ruh!" as they were legging it. I'm going to play the audio from the immediate aftermath now. A couple of things to note: that there may be some muted moments because I never ever swear in videos, and that was a moment that really pushed me to the edge. And also, I thought it was amusing to note, for me at least, that whereas when I've seen torches in the distance and felt safer, I've been able to do recording and do a bit more talking to make it more dramatic for YouTube. Whereas in this case, because I felt that it was immediate danger, I've practically entirely stopped breathing at moments, never mind talking away to the camera. Once I'd found my boots, I felt a little safer, but I immediately started to break down the campsite. One of the benefits of such a simple setup is that it took me literally less than 2 minutes to have everything shoved in my backpack and for me to be getting out of there.
Luckily, he made the smart decision to pack up and leave before anything else unfolded. But it raises a chilling question. Who's wandering around the woods in the middle of the night, shining lasers at random campers? To this day, it remains one of the strangest camping encounters I've ever come across. By the Curb is a YouTuber known for his van life and travel adventures. Most of the time, his videos are filled with exciting trips and peaceful nights on the road. But in this particular upload, what started as just another night turned into a nightmare. He's been living out of his van for 2 years, and in all that time, he never had a scary encounter. He always told himself this kind of thing would never happen to him. But parked down a quiet road somewhere in the UK, that all changed.
And you see a on the front, you follow with the Britain. You follow with your follow with the Britain and on the back. You're not working that one. I'm not the third door. I'm not the private rig. I'm not a first in the footballer. And now reef, I don't know what it means. You see when you put on the dead people who you're supposed to love. Punch that, I never heard this one. I've got a new modern technology. You've got fucking stuff like this on there. You're a cameraman, you're shutting out higher up. don't need. I can't see you on come through that and do mine. Because you don't know who my father was. Now, as you water from
So I've got some nutter shouting outside then. Get my shoes on. It's still there, look. It's coming back. So I'm just hoping that it'll get fed up and bugger off.
You can hear him panting, clearly shaken by what's happening outside his van. Still, he manages to keep his composure and not give in to the man, who was acting completely out of his mind. Eventually, the stranger backs off, disappearing into the night. What his true intentions were, or what he wanted, we may never know. But honestly, this just shows that when you're living alone on the road, you never really know who might come knocking. On May 12th, 2024, YouTuber Creepy Outdoors uploaded a chilling piece of content to his channel. His channel is all about camping alone in eerie forests. Not to make scary content, but simply to relax and unwind. Over time, he's gathered a loyal fan base who follow his quiet adventures closely. Most of the time, he doesn't get scared easily. He rarely even talks much in his videos. But in this particular upload, things felt different.
Just gotta make a fire. I feel a lot better when I got a fire going. What the hell is that? This is a decent spot. I'm gonna go gather some wood. I'm gonna make a little fire, have a nice beer. I heard something cracking in the woods. Now, if you live in Canada, when you hear something cracking, a branch cracking, it doesn't usually mean a small animal. It's usually a deer, a bear, anything of that sort. So it should never be taken lightly when you hear a branch breaking. All right, I'm gonna gather some wood. I'll see you guys then.
It's clear that he isn't as calm as usual, almost as if he senses he's not alone. Still, he keeps going as he begins to make his fire. That's when things suddenly take a much darker turn.
What was that? Hello? I'm not afraid of this fire spreading because there's wetness everywhere. I'm just gonna do a 360 around camp because... Hello? Now, a fire like this will go out easily if you don't maintain it. Important to find broken trees like this. Even if they're wet, the heat of the fire will burn it. As long as you got your birch and a bit of dry something you can bring in the forest, you're fine. I'm a little worried about the sounds I heard earlier. I almost wish it was an animal, because the idea of somebody around my camp, it's a little creepy. I gotta go real quick. Should have grabbed some more, but I really want to show a demonstration. Anything that's dead. What? Hello? What the fuck is going on? Crap. Hello? I better get some more branches. I don't like what I'm hearing. The bigger my fire, if there's a deer or something or a bear around, the fire should scare it.
Out of nowhere, loud, snapping branches can be heard nearby. Clearly unnerved, he tries to make his fire bigger, hoping to scare off whatever or whoever might be lurking in the forest. Eventually, the sounds fade, and the rest of his night is quiet. But honestly, I can't stop wondering what exactly was out there that evening. Not disturbed? Check out this next video on screen if you dare.